So once you go through the entitlement process, you have a shovel-ready project. So fully entitled means it's shovel-ready. You can put the shovel in the ground tomorrow. Sometimes I see marketing where realtors are like, oh, it's shovel-ready, but they don't have stamped plans, and that's not shovel-ready. Shovel-ready means you can put the shovel in the ground. So be careful when you're looking at that too. Like if you're looking at approved lots, there's a difference between approved, like city council said, okay, yeah, you can do this, but then there's another additional process of like actually getting those civil engineering plans stamped and approved and ready to build. So that's where I come back in. So we go horizontal, and what does that cost? So like when we do the analysis on what it's gonna cost, so there's hard costs. So you have your water and sewer service, those can be main or service lines depending on the project. Roads, sidewalks, drainage, irrigation, street lights, fire hydrants, landscaping, joint trench, that's gas, power, cable, and internet. And then there's other things also like signs, electric car charging is a big one that cities like to throw in there now. And then your soft costs, so porta potties you always have to have on site, your property taxes during this period, your inspection fees, your interest costs, your site landscape maintenance, and then site survey fees. So every time you go to do construction work, the surveyor has to come back out and they have to put in stakes where the road's gonna go or the sidewalks are gonna go. They have to put elevations in, all that kind of stuff. So those are all fees that go in there. When you're first looking at a development deal, so there's common pitfalls on your first development deal, and I see this all the time. Will can attest to this. So underestimating timelines and the costs associated. So like, and I made this mistake my very first development deal. I was like, oh, I looked at the whole list of everything I needed to do, and I was like, I can get that done in 4 months. Little did I know, like all the back and forth with the city, and you talk to 8 different people that tell you 8 different things, and they change the rules as you go. And 12 months later, you finally have an approved project. So basically plan on 12 months to get an approved project, and then from there on the development side, again, 4 to 6 months for construction, but then you have to get your plat approved, and that's a lot of times another 6 months. So underestimating horizontal infrastructure that will be required. So I've had, even in the last couple of years, a bunch of people that have brought deals to me saying, hey, I got this deal, do you want to buy it? And they underestimated, oh, we have to put sidewalks in. Like, yeah, the city is going to require that you put sidewalks in on almost any project. Most of the time, even if you have sidewalks on the project already, they're going to make you tear them out and do a landscape buffer with the new sidewalk. So you have to actually tear out the existing sidewalk and put in a new sidewalk. And then not understanding how much things cost. And this can go both ways. I've seen projects out there with pro formas that have the development work, and I'm like, I could literally do that for half the cost. And that's why the pro forma doesn't work a lot of times. And then you also might not be budgeting enough. Again, like when it comes back down to like the sidewalks or not planning for an alley pavement, you might not be budgeting everything that the city's going to require you to do. And that's where it comes in handy to like actually talk to somebody that's gone through the development process, and talk to Andrew, and he'll be able to tell you even and say, yeah, the city's most likely going to require that you put all this stuff in before you ever even close on the deal. Not accounting for all your holding costs. So again, like, if you're using borrowed money, make sure you're planning for plenty of time. Plan for, you're gonna have to make your property tax payments in there. You're gonna have to pay for your maintenance in there. And then the biggest one, I think, is, paying too much for unentitled land. Again, I see deals out there, not even deals. I see projects out on the market that are approved, they're shovel ready, but they cost 20% more than the next closest comp, and the seller is going to lose money on that deal. And that's really just because they didn't do their pro forma from the beginning. They didn't realize their costs. They spent too much on it at the very beginning. We use forced appreciation in land development. So you really want to be buying for, like, it's just like flipping houses or buying rentals. You really make your money at the purchase. So you have to really make sure you're not overpaying for the land at the front end of it. And really, like, if you're just starting out on doing a lot split, like on this house that Michelle bought, like we're in it for zero cost before we pay anybody to start doing work. And like really, if you're starting your first deal, that's what you should be looking for, is a deal that you can split the lot off and you're in it for zero cost. You're not paying an extra 100 grand for that lot. You're paying $0. You pay 20 grand to get it entitled, and then you sell it for 100 grand to make 80 grand, or maybe a little bit more depending on where you're at. But really, like if you're doing lot splits, like you should be looking for land that you're not paying extra for the land. And then just not taking action. Like, you know, if you guys are that are starting out, have been to a number of these meetings, you know, come up with an action plan and actually take action. You know, it's one thing I actually really appreciate about Michelle, like when she was nervous about buying a house, she like literally like took action. She like, and she does that every day too. Like every time someone comes across, she invests in other deals too. And, you know, she's all about taking action if it makes sense. And that's what makes successful real estate investors. Like you have to obviously learn and roll with the punches as you go, but you just got to take action.